It's important to protect your energy because some people out there are energy vampires, where they just latch on and they'll drain your energy. And so in this video, I want to share with you an energy protecting tip that I had to learn to do for myself. And the energy protecting tip is setting boundaries. I was one of these people that didn't set boundaries, and I also wasn't taught the importance of setting boundaries. This is something that I think all kids should be taught from a young age. And some of us, we haven't been taught this. And what I learned is that setting boundaries is how you teach other people how to treat you. And if you're someone that doesn't have boundaries, people realize this about you. They learn this. They notice this person has no boundaries. And so what they do is they use you and take advantage of you as much as you allow them. So this is why setting boundaries to protect yourself and to protect your energy is important. And again, setting boundaries is how you teach other people how to treat you. Now, I learned the reason I wasn't setting boundaries was because I was a people pleaser. It's generally people pleasers that lack boundaries. And I also learned where people pleasing stems from. So people pleasing generally stems from childhood. And so as a child, you may have had something happen where you didn't feel safe. And so because you didn't feel safe, you became this people pleaser because it's like a safety mechanism. It's like a survival instinct. It's like, if everyone around me is good, if everyone around me is happy, then I'm good, I'm safe. So that's where people pleasing comes from. It's like, I make sure everyone around me is good, I please everyone, I'm safe. Or it can stem from parent pleasing, where you have had to do certain things to get the love, validation, and approval from your parents. And then as you grow up, you go from parent pleasing to people pleasing, pleasing your peers to get that love, validation, and approval that you didn't receive as a kid. So I was one of these people. I had no idea I was people pleasing and that I lacked boundaries. And what resulted in that was, because I'm the sort of person that's, always keen to do nice things for others. I'm a giver and I like doing nice things. But after a long period of time, and I'm talking like years, after a long period of time, you kind of notice that the people you do all these nice things for accept it and then they don't reciprocate it. So they're taking, but they don't give back. And then I realized that led me to feeling taken advantage of, taken for granted, underappreciated. Felt like I was just being used like a doormat, you know what I mean? And that led me to feeling resentment towards these people. So what I learned is to stop people pleasing. The reason I was people pleasing was because I was seeking love, validation, and approval from others, doing nice things to get the love, validation, and approval back. And so I learned to stop people pleasing. I healed the wound that created that people-pleasing mentality. And I started learning to set boundaries with people. So what I realized is, firstly, you're allowed to be selfish. People pleasers that don't set boundaries are constantly abandoning themselves to please others. And what you got to realize is, if you're like me, you're one of these people pleasers that lack the boundaries, you've got to realize that you are here on your own journey. You've got your own shit going on, and you can't be constantly abandoning your journey to please everyone else, to do shit for everyone else. You're allowed to be selfish. That's what I had to learn. Like, I used to be selfless, But what I've learned is, in life, everything's about balance. You can't be selfish all the time. You can't be selfless all the time. You've got to meet it in the middle and have that balance. So you're allowed to be selfish. Don't feel guilty for being selfish, for wanting to do your own thing and not abandon yourself to go and please someone else. Just because someone comes to you with a problem doesn't mean you have to solve it for them. Just because someone wants you to help them with something doesn't mean you actually have to. That's what I had to learn for myself. I just thought I am supposed to do these things to be a good friend. That's not true. So I had to learn to start saying no and get comfortable with saying no, and saying no without giving an explanation, because you don't owe anyone an explanation. Again, you're here on this planet on your own journey. You've got your own things to do. You know what I mean? You don't owe people explanations. So get comfortable with saying no, and get comfortable setting boundaries with people so that you teach people how you should be treated. And so one of the things that I learned also that made it easier to set boundaries with others is being my own source of love, validation, and approval. Because people pleasers that lack boundaries, again, it all stems back to childhood, didn't get the love, validation, and approval that they were seeking or that they needed. And so they, you grow up to look for this in other people. When you become a source of love, validation, and approval for yourself, you don't seek it in other. And so because you're not seeking it in other, you're good. You give it to yourself. I don't need it from anyone else. That is what makes it easier to set boundaries with people, because you don't need their love, validation, and approval. You're your own source of it. You're good. And so you're able to set boundaries to be like, this isn't okay. This isn't how I like to be treated. And if that person doesn't like it, you're like, oh, well, I don't care. I don't need you in my life, because you're not people pleasing. And so that was a really powerful lesson for me. That's really changed my life. And not only has it changed my life, well, it has changed my life, but it's changed the way people treat me. People pleasers that lack boundaries don't get respect. People do not respect you. They just use you, unfortunately. And that's what I had to learn the hard way. Now that I'm not abandoning myself to please others, I'm focused on doing my own thing. I'm focused on posting or creating content and posting online and studying spirituality, reading books. I'm focused on what I've got going on. I've taken my attention off everyone else. It's like an energetic shifts happen where people are chasing me now rather than me chasing after them. And so I've also noticed that, people just treat me with more respect. And I just have more opportunities with friendships that come in and things like that as well. So it's a really powerful tip to apply, because it's also going to help weed out the people that aren't good for you anyways. If they don't like the boundaries that you've set and they can't respect it, then they're not worth being around you. And then it will allow room for better people to come in that will treat you with respect. So I highly recommend to protect yourself, protect your energy by setting boundaries with other people so that you don't have people draining your energy, using you, and taking advantage of you. So I hope you liked this video and you got some sort of value out of it. If you did, let me know by hitting the like button or write a comment. And if you like this sort of content, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell notification. Hope you have an awesome day. Peace.